Power Talk 10 for reals this time, y'all. Like, I am recording, I see the record button. Mad props to Sarah, who saved me for not only having to restart this more than 2 minutes, I think, but mad props to her. She's a nurse, she catches stuff. So I appreciate that. That's my biggest fear, y'all. Don't hit record. But Power Talk 10, we're going to talk about how to get out of a slump. How many of you are in a slump? How many of you ever been in a slump? Anybody ever been in a slump? How many are presently going through a slump? A lot of people still going through a slump. I think Beachbody as a whole is maybe going through a slump a little bit. And I want to talk about how to get out of it and how to use this as a resource so you can catch yourself, so your slump doesn't have to be a bigger deal than it actually is, right? Because sometimes we almost wallow in our slumps, right? We get in our slumps and it feels like it gives us something to talk about. And, misery loves company. We kind of talk with our other coaches or something, and it gives us a sense of community if we're talking about our slumps. And on the flip end of that, having success sometimes can feel lonely. Like we almost don't want to share our success because, it comes off as braggy, or it comes off as, hey, I know you're struggling, so I don't want to make you feel like you're, not doing so. I'm just not going to talk about my wins, and we're going to talk about the struggle thing. So we're constantly talking about struggling, and we're driving the struggle bus. Who here's driving the struggle bus? Anybody driving the struggle bus? Yeah. We're going to get off the struggle bus today, and we're going to talk about how to, just how to, if some, maybe this might be tricky. How many people aren't driving the struggle bus, but they're frustrated because they're on the struggle bus that somebody else is driving? And it's scary, right? Because you could get off and drive your own bus, but that means you got to drive, but you're frustrated that you're on the current bus that you're on, right? So that's kind of your fault, kind of maybe you're placing the blame somewhere else. So that might be some like amen, that might be some ouch right there. We're going to talk about those stretches. I want to kick off this call by first of all thanking every single one of you for coming to these Power Talks. This is something I'm super passionate about. New Wave formed because while all of us love learning from the 15 star diamonds, the people who have made it, who have given us proof that, they've been through the struggles, the slumps, and they've risen out of it. We've watched the top coaches, and they give us proof that this business works, that this business can change your life. And we love learning what helped them get there. It's also important for me and the other people in this community that there's people just like you and me that are in the trenches and they're still getting success. And we want to learn from each of you, everybody, what's working for you. I mean, you could be a brand new coach and something that is working for you. I want to hear about that. And New Wave was born by everybody, regardless of rank, regardless of experience, regardless of how big a game you're playing or how small a game you're playing, how big or how small your wins are, that everybody is empowered to share your wins. And then when we do go through the struggles or the slumps, that this community, hey, we've been there, we'll pick you up. And it's an empowering environment too. So we got some new people on this call, and Camille's going to present. I'm going to kick it off to her in just a little bit. But I think it's cool that Camille has stepped up, and it's Power Talk 10. And this is going to be her first inaugural talk. And anybody in this community can contribute. And I just want to encourage everybody here who's on the call to make that a goal of yours. Make it a goal to contribute, because when I want you to feel the love that this community gives. And when you say, hey, I have something that's working for me, I'm passionate about this, people want to hear about it. And so I want to talk about what is a slump, because a slump might be different things to different people. It's not always black and white. Right? You could have not necessarily some business results, but feel like you're on fire because you have ideas that you believe are going to work. You can't wait to try them, so you have so much energy even though you don't have the results yet. And you could have 20 Success Club points, but maybe your best coach quit and you feel like you're on the bottom of the, like, hey, this is, I'm struggling, right? How many people would feel like they're in a slump if they hit Success Club 20, but their challenge group had the lowest engagement they've had all year, right? It's kind of, you're having some success and you're having, a lot of times we'll help 10 people, but we're on our 11th person and they said no, I'm not interested right now. And that's all we could think about right then, right? Is that one person we didn't help. We don't focus on the 10 people we are helping, or our loyal customers that we've been helping for years. We focus on the one we didn't get, right? And we let that person or that no, or like, you have the perfect answer for them. That all they would have to do is these really simple things and their life would change, and they still don't say yes. And you're like, oh, you almost take it personal. And then you let kind of that bad day turn into more of a bad day. You guys know Curtis. If you guys don't know Curtis, him and I are really good friends. He calls it spewing rocks when you have kind of bad momentum going. It's like bad momentum leads to more bad momentum. Like your confidence gets shaken. You kind of want to chase it and you want to get it back, and you go have another conversation, but it's kind of in your head, and it leads to bad free rocks. Yeah, no, we don't want to spew rocks. We want to spew momentum. But we're going to talk about how to stop spewing rocks, and if you're spewing rocks, how to kind of nip that before it gets thing. And what's really cool, Power Talk 10. This talk is going to be a resource. So if you have a coach that's struggling, or if you are struggling, I want this talk and kind of the freemiums that are come from this talk to be like, hey, I hear you talking about how hard it is right now. I want you to watch this. I want you to fill out this worksheet, and then I want you and I to have a conversation after that. So rather than you would have to go through all of these steps over and over and over, you can get them, you can send them to a place, have them kind of go through that in their mind, fill out a worksheet, and come back to you where you're at the problem-solving point of the conversation, rather than you listening to the stories that they're telling yourself. And a lot of times slumps are just stories. And what we're going to do tonight is we're going to give you kind of 3 platforms that are going to strip away all the BS about what's going on in your slump. Like, I'm too busy, I don't have enough time, I have a family emergency. There's so many excuses that are legitimate and they're not legitimate, or that we let turning into more that contribute to a larger slump. No matter what it is or what things are contributing to that, we're going to have 3 steps. You get step 1, you can move to step 2. When you get step 1 and step 2, when you're putting that and you're working together, you're ready for step 3. And when you get through step 3, you're gonna be moving past it. You're going to be going into the rising out of the slump. So we're talking about the struggle bus. No more struggle bus. We're going to get off the struggle bus today. But who is ready? Who is ready to rise out of the slump? And who is ready for this tool to put in their tool belt to not only help themselves, but help all the coaches that come to them like, screaming like it's just not working? Because a lot of times as leaders, we love helping, but we get tired of hearing excuses, right? So let this be that tool. I want to turn it over to Camille, who's going to lay the foundation. And I love Camille. Camille is somebody who started driving her own bus and started leading to her own success. And Camille is, if you guys aren't following Camille, you totally need to. She runs the Positivity platform. And her and I went through Team Cup back in February. And Camille will let you know, like, we had some struggles, we had some slumps. Like, even though we were doing amazing things, we ended up finishing tied for 10th, finished 11th place. There was definitely some slumps, and Camille, out of anybody on the team, pulled a lot of the members, including myself, out of the slumps, got them thinking positive, got us refocused on what we were committed to, and got us rising out of the ashes so we're performing again. So that slump, they didn't need to be as long as Camille, positive, got us righted the ship, and we were performing right away. So I'm going to flip it over to her. I'm really excited to learn what she has, but you guys got to start with what she's going to tell you before you can lay the second foundation. So Camille, make sure you unmute yourself, and then I'll turn the floor over to you.
Hi guys, so I'm getting over a cold, so if I start coughing, I apologize. I'm super nervous. This is the first time I've ever talked to more than like 10 people, so bear with me. But the first thing I wanted to share with you guys is the definition of consistency. And so dictionary.com says, consistency is a steadfast adherence to the same principle, course, form, etc. And then the sentence under it is, There is consistency in his pattern of behavior. And I liked that definition the most because of the sentence under it. There is consistency in his or her pattern of behavior. As coaches, that's our job. To be a Beachbody coach, we need to be consistent. We can't start one workout from let's say we do total body cardio from 21 Day Fix on Monday, and then pick stretch from the 3-day yoga retreat, and then pick something from Body Beast. That, besides the challenge du jour, which Beachbody has put together themselves and has a system and a pattern, doesn't work to bounce from one program to another. There are certain hybrid ones that do work, but there are systems put in place by corporate and people that is their only job, that is what we're supposed to be doing. So I have so many challengers and so many coaches that come in and want to do 8 zillion things at once because they want that snap of the finger instant success. And it's not a business that works that way. Our health and fitness journey doesn't work that way. We need to be consistent with our patterns and our behaviors to have any form of results. So I don't know about you guys, but summer was hard for me. I got married. I let that consume my life, and we had lots of family in and out of our lives at that point with crazy things. So yes, my workouts got pushed back and my nutrition got pushed back, and that was my excuse. 3-4 months up to the wedding, that was my excuse. And right now, coming into September, I'm finally like, that's not an excuse anymore. Like, I have to get back on track with what I'm doing. So we all have problems with consistency. It's a patience game. It's a personality game. Everybody's version of consistency is going to be different, but the only version that actually works is when we stay true to ourselves and stay true to what we believe at our core and what is us, for it to come off as genuine consistency. So when we have consistency, we have to know our why. I don't know about you guys, but Facebook, at least my news feed, is full of junk right now. Like, it's full of politics. It's full of people jumping into network marketing thinking that they're going to make quick money before the holidays so that they have money to spend on presents. So they're just slamming you with these parties or invites or whatever it may be. I don't hate any other companies. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying our Facebook is full of things that people think are consistency and full of things that people think in their mind or are being told is genuine and relatable. Whereas as Beachbody coaches, we honestly get to be whoever we want to be and what we started our journey for. So I personally struggled with an eating disorder growing up. And so once I got to college and was on my own, I knew what I needed to eat, but I also didn't like what the schools were giving us to eat. And so I had a very up and down thing in college. I was sick all the time because the food you eat at school is bad for you and not what you're supposed to be eating anyways. And so right before graduation, I was approached by one of my best friends about Beachbody. And I was like, you know what? This sounds like a way that I could learn how to eat. I could learn how to exercise without reverting back to all the negative things I had in my life. And so I found my why. My why was I was going to take control of how I looked at food and how I looked at exercise. And I was going to be the one that was in control of how much I ate and how much exercise I did in a healthy way instead of in a negative way when I was growing up. And being me and accepting that that's why I started my journey and signed up as a coach was what made Positivity Platform. So me being true to me and saying, okay, well, yes, I had an eating disorder growing up, but if I fast forward 5 years, what did I do to make things better? I found a program that wasn't going to have me starve myself and I still could eat normal foods. I found a workout program that wasn't going to keep me in the gym for 5 hours a day or whatever it may be, 2 hours a day, 1 hour a day. I found something I could do in the comfort of my home without feeling like I was judged. So I stayed true to me and decided that was the decision I was going to make. So I did it. I jumped in. I realized that there were other parts of me that other people didn't have, like finding the positive light in everything, having a love for quotes, hating cleaning, becoming a stepmom, graduating college, like all of these things that to everybody on the outside may look like normal, or to me seemed like boring normal things, are what make me relatable to people that are following my like page. So as coaches, we need to be consistent, and with consistency, we need to know why we are doing what we are doing. And with our why, we dive in a little bit deeper. What makes me relatable? What makes me different? I don't know, do you love cats? Do you hate cats? Do you love dogs? Do you have a blended family? Do you love gardening? Like, what makes you you? And then embrace that and share that. Don't share stock photos from Beachbody. Beachbody doesn't need us to share their stuff. They have their own marketing department that's really good at what they do, because otherwise we wouldn't know what they are. But we are our own people, and the best thing about our Beachbody business is we get to make it ours. I guarantee if you look at my like page, which is positivity platform, and look at Andy's Farm Strong, and look at anybody else's, your upline, your accountability partner, like none of us are the same. Like Andy said, our Team Cup team, we are nothing alike. Like we were slightly, we weren't slightly, we were all very driven. We all had very, very, very different personalities. And so it's just like any other business or any other corporate job. When I was working in the school district, I did not get along with half the teachers I had to teach with. But you have to suck it up and you have to do what you're supposed to do. And so here we slightly get to choose who we want to work with, and we slightly don't. So if you don't get along with your upline, suck it up. You signed up with them for a reason. You can drive your own bus, like Andy said. If you haven't read The Energy Bus, I highly recommend it. That was one of the game changer books I read right after Team Cup, right in that general area, and it completely changed my mindset. Another thing with consistency is the 4 vital behaviors. We can't do our job if we're not doing what corporate says are 4 things that are very, very important. I'm just now almost 2 years in having coaches come onto my team, that are actually seeing the vision I have for Positivity Platform instead of just signing coaches. So I'm a firm believer this is not a get-quick-rich business. It takes a lot of hard work. If you asked my husband how much time I'm on my computer or my phone, I think he'd like to break both of them some days, because I just get sucked into it. But finding what makes you you and what your balance was kind of my part. Consistency and your why are going to pull you out of your slump. My freemium also talks about how you can have a stockpile of stuff on the days you're super duper focused and really, really driven about what you're doing. I normally have 1 or 2 of those a week, and I'll create my coffee posts. I'll find a blog post on Pinterest or wherever, and if it's the top 10 reasons you need sleep, I'll create a template on my phone, and I use Rana, but you can use PicMonkey, Canva, whatever. I'll create a basic template so that they're all the same. Put whatever, so I'll say top reasons for needing sleep, and then I'll break them down into 10 separate posts so that that's sitting in a file on my computer for a 10-day series. Well, there you go. There's 1 post for 10 straight days on my like page that all I really have to think about is what caption I'm going to put with it. Because when you have graphics like that, they kind of talk to them. They talk to your audience themselves. You still want to write something, but it doesn't need to be a page. If you, let's see, I'm missing all of this. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, let's see what people are saying. Yes, do write down what your passions are. My premium prompts you with some questions too. Yes, the balance, Lisa S000. Yes, I've had Axton. Actually, it kind of broke my heart one day, one week this summer. We were going to the park, and I left my phone at home, and he's like, Neil, don't you need to take your phone with you? And I was like, nope, I'm just going to hang out with you guys today. So there is a balance. But I think if you explain to your kids or explain to your husband or significant other or partner, whatever it may be, they watch what you're doing. So as Action says, hey, don't you need your phone when we go to the park? He also will go grab his Leap pad and set it up on whatever, because he sees me set my laptop off, and will push the song button and start doing mountain climbers or jumping jacks or something on the living room floor or at the camper, because he says it's his turn to work out. So there is a balance, but everything that you are doing, they're watching. So, and that's part of your passion, I would hope. I would hope that whoever is watching you at home and maybe getting mad at you some days is also seeing how hard you're working and excited for you and everything else, and just explaining to them why. So that would be my advice on the balance. But yes, I think that was all I had. Is Robin on? I guess I don't even know.
Yeah, she's on page 2. So, but yeah, Robin's totally here.
Okay, did anyone else have any questions? I mean, we can do them at the end too. I don't know how Andy wants to do that. But my freemium kind of walks you through my brain when I'm doing super productive days. But my stockpile has been a lifesaver when we have crazy things going on.
That's awesome. So let's turn it over to Robin. But yeah, you guys have to start with your why and your motivation, because if you don't have that, then none of this is going to work. So step 1 is find that. And then Robin, once you have that down, once you know why you're going to do what you're doing, Robin's going to build on that. And for me, she's on page 2. So if you guys can't tell who's talking, it's Robin. Robin, why don't you wave and unmute yourself? But you guys can watch Robin and take it away.
Okay, thanks, Andy. Hey, guys, can everybody hear me? I'm good? Yeah, okay. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about belief. And this is something that's, really speaks a lot to me, because it's something that I've struggled with quite a lot, especially in this business. And it's really important that you have a good, strong belief to be successful. And if you don't believe in the products, or you don't believe in yourself, you don't believe in the coaching opportunity, or you don't believe in the vital behaviors, or you don't believe in the systems that are in place, you're guaranteed to run into some struggles and end up on the struggle bus. When I first started as a coach, I actually wasn't drinking Shakeology. And I didn't actually intend to drink Shakeology. I had a few years ago when it first came out, and then I started having a few issues with my health and with foods and food intolerances and stuff. And so when I was figuring all that out, I cut out everything, including Shakeology. And I was really quite scared to put anything back in. So although I had been exercising, I loved the programs, I had had great results. I fully believed in the nutrition components of the programs, because I had tried just working out and not changing my nutrition, and that didn't work. So I knew that the programs worked, but I didn't have that belief in Shakeology. And so I was talking to people about challenge packs and about the programs, and I was finding people were only buying programs. They were not buying challenge packs, even though I was presenting, that as the best option. And so I realized that because I didn't have a strong belief in it, that was coming across to people. So I decided I better educate myself about it, because if you don't believe in something, I think that's one of the best things to do, is figure out what is the value in it. So I educated myself. There's so many resources out there about Shakeology, and I followed Darren O'Lean, and I researched all about how he processes it and all the testing that goes into it and everything. And to make a long story short, I actually convinced myself that I needed to try it again. And it actually really helped with a lot of the issues with joint pain and that kind of thing that I was having. And so then I had a very strong belief in it from both my research and my own personal experience. And then I started seeing more, as I was in the business longer, I started seeing more success stories from other coaches, other people in the community, and challengers. And then I started selling challenge packs. So it's interesting how, if you don't believe in something, you're not going to have success in convincing somebody else that it's worthwhile. So if you're not doing a program, or you're not getting the results that you want with the program, I guarantee you're going to struggle, because if you're not being proof the product works, and you don't, have that belief inside you that this is going to be successful for somebody else and it's not successful for you, then you're going to struggle. And, it goes back to that first vital behavior, being proof the products work. And so if you're doing that and you're following the program and you're getting good results, you are going to feel that belief that it does work. So another thing that I struggled with was believing in yourself. And I think that's something that a lot of us struggle with. I felt like I was kind of different and that nobody else was really going to go to the lengths I was going to, because I've done like almost every Beachbody program out there. And I kind of thought challenge groups were like a magic bullet. They would buy a challenge pack, and then I would put them in a challenge group, and I would post the posts in the back office once a day, and they would get results. And then it didn't work that way. And so then I started thinking that I know the products work, so it must be me that's the missing link here. I'm the problem. I can't help people. And so then it was really hard for me to invite people, because I didn't have that belief that I could make a difference in their lives, right? So I had to figure out a way to believe in that process. And so what I did is, I think there's a couple things that are important. One, I think a lot of us focus on the negative. So if we have one or two people who aren't getting success, I think we're going to focus on those people. So I think it's really important to write down, like actually keep a running list of success stories and positive things that people say. Keep it in a document, and you can refer back to it when you're having a rough day. And surround yourself with those success stories. Write down success stories from other coaches, from your challengers, from everybody, so that you have that positive side of it, so that you're not just focusing on that one person that fell off the wagon. But I also realized that I was kind of like up here on my journey, and I was having people start down here, and I was expecting them to just get here without really sharing how I did it. And once I realized that I needed to add those little pieces in, like I have learned so much on my journey. I mean, I've learned so much about Shakeology through all my research about it. I have learned a lot about nutrition through my own health struggles. I can teach people about meal prepping and meal planning and how to get it all done in a busy life with 3 kids. And, I was just running back here from swim lessons. That's why I was late. So, I don't stop and grab fast food ever. Like I plan and I know how to do it. So I can teach other people how to do it. I can teach people how to grocery shop and shop the perimeter of the store. I have a lot of stuff to offer. And I think that we attract people to our challenge groups who are like us and who have a lot of the same struggles. So if we share our results and the information that we have found that has worked for us, that's what's going to really help those people. So that's how I kind of got past that not believing in my ability to help people. But of course, the other thing is, if you don't believe enough in yourself to do it, there's the other vital behavior of personal development, right? That's why it's a vital behavior. Like it's super important. And I feel like I can never get enough of that. And, doing stuff like this, like getting out of my comfort zone. When I joined the mastermind, it wasn't like, I was an experienced coach or an experienced speaker or anything. It was just something that I felt drawn to and I felt compelled to do. And anybody can be a part of it. And part of believing in yourself is acting like a leader and stepping out of your comfort zone, always pushing the boundaries of your comfort zone. Because if you don't push the boundaries of your comfort zone, then your comfort zone starts to close in on you and get smaller. So you always want to be pushing those boundaries. So those are really important things to do in order to believe in yourself. And I think the other struggle that a lot of us get into with this opportunity is just not believing in this as a viable opportunity. Like we're all talking about how much time we spend on the computers and, how it's hard to find balance, and all of our families are kind of, annoyed. And a lot of times we're not making the money really, per hour, that we would like to be making. And so, especially if you're feeling like you're on the struggle bus, like how are you going to invite somebody to join you on the struggle bus? Like, no, you don't want to do that to somebody else, right? So you have to believe in the opportunity, and you have to believe, and I think a lot of us do believe in the opportunity, obviously, or we wouldn't still be doing this. But I think that there is some really valuable things you can do to really show yourself how important this opportunity is. And one of them that I think is, that I'm going to give you actually as homework, is to write down everything that you have that's positive from being a coach. And one of the biggest things I have from being a coach is just being more confident. Like if you had told me 2 years ago I would have been doing this, I would have said, no way. And I probably would have not signed up as a coach just because there was a chance that I might end up doing this 2 years later. But about 6 to 9 months into my coaching business was when I had a lot of people coming up to me and saying, you know, I don't know what you're doing, but there's something different about you. Like it was obvious from the outside that something was changing and I was becoming more confident. And I think, you know, no matter what else, that's invaluable, right? So let's not just think of the financial things, although it's great to be able to pay for my kids' horse riding lessons or those kind of things and to share those things. But don't just think of financial stuff as well. Like think of other things that this business has done for you, has done for you personally. I love when I get messages from people, you know, that just, you know, say that you've made a change in their life. And, you know, that's what kind of keeps me going. I love that my kids think that working out is a normal thing to do. They don't think that's anything unusual. They just think it's an accepted part of life, you know? I love that my kids will eat pretty much anything I put in front of them now. Like that was a long process, but all of these things have come through being a coach. Well, seriously, it was a lot of, this is disgusting before we got to where we are now. You know, there's a lot of success stories out there. So if you're struggling to, you know, and feel like this business opportunity is maybe, you know, you don't want to offer it to people because you don't know what they're going to get out of it. And you think it's going to be too hard and they're going to be on their phones too much. And, you know, you're in your head too much worrying about all of that. Look at success stories that are out there. There's lots of success stories in the back office. Read those. Go back to your list of what it's done for you. Maybe I'll start a thread in New Wave actually about, you know, your top things that being a coach has done for you. And we can all refer to that and see that it has changed lives. And, you know, what would happen how would your life be different if you hadn't signed up as a coach? You know, my life would be a lot different and it would not be for the better, that's for sure. So look at the success stories on your teams. And I have an upline who's like 3 levels up, who I think does a really good job of sharing. She's in the Millionaires Club now, and she shares a lot of failures and when she falls off the wagon and when she's not consistent. She shares all that stuff. And she shares when she's struggling and she's, you know, it's 2 days before the end of the month and she's like, you guys, I haven't hit Success Club yet and I'm stressed about it. Like she shares all that stuff and she just seems like me. And then you think, well, if she is just like me and she has hit the Millionaires Club, then, you know, she does hammer in that it's all about consistency and you have to do the work and you have to put in the effort. So if I do that, I'm going to get into the Millionaires Club. You know, that's how she makes me feel. So I think sharing how, and not trying to be perfect to your team is important as well, and sharing where you're at so that they feel like they can do it too. You know, that I've learned a lot from her. So I think just to wrap it up, like if, you know, I think a lot of it comes down to the vital behaviors, you know, believing, if you don't believe in yourself, you're not going to have the confidence to invite people. If you don't believe in the products, you know, if you're not being the proof the products work, you're probably not going to have that belief in the products. Recognition can be huge in terms of believing that you can help people, because if you're recognizing people all the time for little successes, then it makes it more obvious in your mind that you are having successes and people are having successes, and that's going to reinforce that what you're doing is working. So it's not just for recognizing isn't just beneficial for them. I think it's beneficial for us as too, kind of like, you know, we're actually helping people, right? And personal development, you know, is really going to help with the belief in yourself. So I think it's all critical. So that's all I have. And now we're going to move on to Jenny. And I'm super excited to hear what she has to say. I heard a preview and it's going to be awesome as usual. So I'll just mute myself again and take it away.
Okay, guys, can you hear me? I just unmuted myself. Robin, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. All right, thank you. It's so awesome to see your faces on this live and actually get to see each other. You know, with the normally you can just see all those emojis. So now this time they're real. So, you know, guys, I kind of want to, you know, thank Andy for the introduction, and Camille with your positivity platform. I just love that whole concept, and you know, tapping into your why and why you're doing this. And good job, Robin. You know, and I saw some suggestions for like what's the opposite of a struggle bus. Like we need a name for the good version of a struggle bus. So keep those coming. As I was thinking like speed machine or something, but I don't know what a good nickname for that is. So I'm here today to talk to you guys about showing up on a bad day. And, you know, part of this talk originated when we were masterminding and brainwaving from a discussion that I had with a client. So like I was talking to this girl once a week about her nutrition, and she was supposed to be keeping this food diary for me. And you know, a few weeks had gone by and she just really hadn't changed hardly any of her behaviors. At least, you know, she was doing 50% of it through the day. And then, you know, some of the things I kept asking her to do, we just weren't getting anywhere. And it got to the point on the phone call and I was like, what's happening? We just got to dig deeper here. So I was like, so why are we doing this? You know, and she listed all the reasons why, and she's fighting against diabetes. And I was like, okay, we've got that. And then I was like, well, you know, we know what are we doing? And then we talked about that, and she knew exactly that it works. The program works. She loves Shakeology, all this stuff. And so we basically covered, all right, you know why you should be doing it. You know that it works. And she's like, I just need to stop being lazy and to just do it. And so, you know, we were kind of talking about that with business too, because, you know, we all know our why and why we're trying to help other people, what motivates us. And we know that the systems work and, you know, action creates action. And, you know, we know that the products are amazing and that, you know, we've got our 4 vital behaviors. And if we just do them every day, it'll come together for us. And then we have all these coaches on the struggle bus, and the missing link is discipline. And that's, you know, sounds kind of harsh at first, but it's just like, that's what divides people, is that the people who know all that information, and then you divide everyone into 2 groups, and the people who are actually doing it, and then the people who are talking about doing it, or they want to do it, but they're just not for some reason. And so those that are doing it, they've established certain things in their life to create discipline. And so, you know, Robin did so good about, you know, believing in yourself and believing in the products, and then believing in the system of our 4 vital behaviors. And so I want to talk to you about when you don't want to do something, because when you're in a slump, you don't want to do it. And it's a lot like when you're laying in bed on a cold morning, and your bed is nice and warm and you don't want to get out of bed, but it's really cold, and you forced yourself to get out of bed and to do your workout. And so that's the difference. It's really just nobody wants to every single day, but some people do it anyway. And, you know, Camille was talking about how she dives into her why when she's having a bad day, and she pulls out one of those gut reasons and she'll make a post about it, and then she's feeling better and she's back in the game. So you can always go back to the beginning. And like, I always question myself at least once a month. I'm like, why am I doing all this again? So you do that, you go through that process, and then you're like, well, I know it works. And then you just kind of go back to your system and back to your routine. So, you know, everybody has those days where they don't want to do it. So I've started telling my customers in my network that motivation is a myth. And, you know, it's not always that case, but what I mean by that is you can't just sit there in your slump and just wait for something to happen. You can't just sit there and wait for yourself to suddenly feel like working the business when the kids are screaming and you're out of groceries and you can't eat healthy because you don't have any food, and you've let everything get behind and piled up, and life is crazy, you know. And it's just, you know, you can't just wait for something magical to take over you when you don't want to work out. It won't happen. So you have to be the one that tells yourself, I'm going to do this because I know why I should, and I know that it works, and if I do it, it's going to make me become the person that I want to be. So you have to think that way with your business. So I've been there. A lot of times, when we talk about slump, when I first got back into the new wave community, I was in the middle of a slump month, and it really was like a full 30 days of hard slump. And I think part of it was because I've been a coach for 4 years, and I was just like, something has to change. I can't keep doing what I've been doing. I have to change something. And so I went down into that slump while I was kind of like figuring it all out. Like, what am I going to do? I have to do something different. And it basically was to create discipline in my life. And so, here's my tips for you guys. Here's what you can do to create that discipline. And it's a whole lot of little things. Basically, I pulled out all the stops. I did everything I could think of, and I just made all the puzzle pieces fit together. And so you want to create structure in your life and in your environment. You want to start creating that routine. And so I started working with time blocks because I knew I wanted to work my business. I wanted to be successful at it. I knew that the system worked, and I knew why I wanted to do it. So it's like, okay, I'm ready to do it. And no more slump month. I'm getting off the bus. And so I started to structure my day around the behaviors that I knew I needed to be doing. And, I remember hearing some of the top coaches on the stage at Summit say, what's the hardest thing to do? And a lot of times it's that messaging and inviting. I think that's what a lot of coaches slack off on, is the time that you're supposed to be doing inviting people on a daily basis. We'll wait till the last minute deadline, or we'll kind of not even really have an official challenge group starting on any certain day. And you have to create the structure in your life for your business. So I started creating time blocks, and I started breaking down what I wanted to do into little segments. And so I joined New Wave. I went to Coach Summit. I started leading, and I started volunteering for things. And I basically created an environment around myself where I was working all the time. And then it's like, okay, vital behaviors. I need to be inviting. And so when I joined Team Cup, I was like, all right, minimum 10 invitations a day. That's got to be the minimum. And it's grown since then, actually. I'm doing more like 20 right now. And my goal is to sit down and do 5 conversations. It may be the first step in the 5-step invitation process, but I will start at least 5 conversations, or I'll get someone who's done with forming, and I'll start bringing up the fitness with them or the healthy lifestyle with them. And I'll be in the middle of the 5-step invitation process with that person. I write their name down and I move to the next. And once I do 5 people, I reward myself with a more desirable task. And it may still be something on my to-do list for the day or for the week, but it's something that's more fun than what I was just doing. And so it may, or just maybe, do my workout or fold my laundry, because all those things that we do instead of working, the procrastination, when suddenly laundry is more appealing than working, all of a sudden that's my reward. I just invited 5 people. Now I can fold my laundry. Yay! And so you create your reward for doing that. And then after I do a couple tasks, I'll sit back down and I'll pick up where I left off, 5 more people. And so I'm going through what I consider to be the most vital behaviors in little tiny time blocks with a system of rewards all day long on the days that I'm working. So you want to create those rewards for yourself. And you've got your support network. You have your team. You have New Wave. You've got to tap into that stuff. And so I challenge you guys to step up and come to the mastermind sessions. So not just the last Tuesday of the month, but all of the Tuesdays. Let your voice be heard. Start pitching in on the conversation. Volunteer to put together a freemium, or pair up with someone to put together a freemium. And then volunteer to speak. If it's something that is heavy on your heart, something you're passionate about, speak. We need more leaders to step up in New Wave, and you need more experience leading other coaches. If you want to be a coach of coaches, you've got to start taking advantage of New Wave. So I challenge you guys to do that. And then I like this phrase, and this is in the freemium that Jennifer Anderson and I put together too. Swamp yourself in accountability. If you're not accountable to someone, all those things you should be doing, they're not going to happen. And so, when I started reaching out and all the networks I was in and all the coaches, inviting people to be success partners, inviting people to be weekly accountability groups, that's basically, you've got to create the stuff. So you can't, just like you can't wait for motivation to just take over you, you can't wait for someone to come in your life and make you start working. You need to reach out to others and set up those systems in place around and be the one that leads the group that you need. So, kind of another fun thing that I've done when I'm trying to create my disciplined routine. I have like a weekly call every Thursday with a coach. I've got, all these other systems in place. And then I created rewards. If I do 6 days of my business goals, it's actually 5.5. I have it set up that way. I'm going to show you guys. Oh, this is my bedroom. I have this box of prizes and it says Celebration Day, 6 days of business success. I've got little things in here like nail polish and coupons. Order an extra bag of cafe latte Shakeology after 6 days of working my business because it's my favorite flavor. Just silly things like a day of watching movies all day long. So I made all these rewards so that, because I'm a list person, and I thought, well, it's more fun if I make coupons. This is a day of going outside, swim, bike, and run, Maybe I'll do my 22-minute workout that day, then go outside and do something different. Something simple like go buy purple nail polish. But I put together all these little things, and on the day that I have off from work, it's Celebration Day, and I get to pick things out of that box to do on my day off. And I realized this because I was still struggling in a slump, and I just didn't want to do it, and it felt like it was just work all the time. But if you meet your goals, and like for me, my 20 points of contact per day, if I do that 5 days in a row, I get to pick something out of that box, have Celebration Day, and go on with my life. And by the end of Celebration Day, I kind of suck at it, by the way. I'm like ready to get back to work. Because once you're out of the slump, that's all you want to do is work. So, you've got all these things that you can do to get yourself out of a slump. And, one of the most important ones I haven't mentioned at all yet, but do some business building affirmations with yourself. And so I started, creating phrases that I tell myself on a daily basis, or when I'm starting to like get kind of tired and not want to do it, and say things to yourself like, I am a leader, or I am successful, or I am a coach of coaches if you're trying to build your team, or I have something to offer. Okay, so you need to have those phrases in your head and pull them out whenever you have those moments of insecurity or where you kind of want to hide from everything. So I want to mention and shout out Jennifer Anderson for the freemium that she helped with, because it's really a document she and I put together all about self-discipline and creating that environment. And so tons and tons of tips on there. The document you'll get tomorrow whenever we share all the freemiums. So that will be coming out tomorrow. Thanks guys for being here. I'm going to turn it back over to Andy now.
It's not so good. Jenny, you're such a rock star. Shout out to Jenny. Everybody give Jenny a fist bump because and give everybody a fist bump, right? Camille and Robin, all of the new waivers, everybody who showed up to this call. Isn't that cool? When we came for the Tuesday planning session and Jenny kind of just layered like how this, because I felt like the community was struggling. I'm like, how do we help them get out of the slump? And isn't that so how you get a slump? Like you're cruising, everything's going well, then all of a sudden something happens, life gets in the way, like you skip something, or something gets hard, unexpected event. Your discipline, where you've been so consistent, there's a chink in the armor, and then it doesn't quite work as well. So you start to question whether like this is the way to go, this is the way to build your business. So your belief starts to fade, and if your belief starts to fade too much, then you start questioning why you're even doing this, right? So you have to have your why. So like, just you got that, and then you got to believe that whatever you're going to do to bring out your why, your rally cry, if you've taken my branding course, once you believe that's worth, then you got to execute every day. And that doesn't work unless you have each of the layers. And what's cool about Ginny, I want to brag on her, who is a member of my most recent Team Cup team, we finished 9th place. Ginny came out as slump month, and a lot of people might have considered the way that she started August to be in a slump, but she had so much energy without the results yet. She says I was in Flintstone mode, which means I got the Flintstone car and she's paddling, right? And the car's not going in there. She's like, it's going to take off, y'all. Like, it's going to take off. And she was disciplined, y'all. She believed in what she was doing. She was doing it every day. She was upping her game like crazy, and it took off like towards the end of the month. And it's not only took off, it's been something she's maintained in those momentum building behaviors. We cracked the top 10, by 1 point, and Ginny came in with 2 points on the very last day, right? Like literally every point mattered, and it was because she was in Flintstone mode at the 10th, and because even though that she wasn't getting the results by the 15th, she was still paddling just hard. She believed just as much. She had her why there. She was so disciplined to do the behavior that it wasn't a slump, even though you were getting the results. So that's my big quest to you, y'all. Like, if just because results aren't coming in doesn't mean that has to be the slump. If you have energy and if you have belief in what you're going to do and it's grounded in a why, then it's just a matter of time before your Flintstone car, takes off. So that's kind of my homework. My first homework is I want you to write down your why, and write it down kind of if you guys take my branding course, like what's your rally cry? Mine is grow your dreams. And so what that means to me is, in order for me to be successful, I need a mountain to climb. I need a dream to build. Right? So no matter what I'm doing in the business, what I'm doing with my fitness, what I'm doing in my marriage, my whole life, this is like my life why, right? Is I'm growing my dreams, is I have to have a mountain to climb. I have to be looking up at something to chase. So wherever that is. Okay, so now my belief is, how am I going to do there? Like for me, I was struggling with finding more people, right? Cold market people, right? So this is like real world application. And so I needed to believe in a system that was going to work me, that I could reach more people. So one, I wanted to teach, found a new wave. I believed in that. I executed it. I wanted to make more of a difference in my local community. One thing I struggle with is like friendship and stuff like that. So I started like a community BNI group, which is like a local networking thing. I believed that was going to work. If I showed up every day and I got in there, I believed that system was going to give me results. And so it was really easy for me to show up to the meeting every week. It was really easy for me to go out in one-to-one meetings and put the time in to that strategy to make it work. And because I believed that was going to yield dividends, even before it actually did, I had the discipline to show up every day. A lot of you guys are in trainings you don't believe in, right? You can't just chop out that middle step, right? You have your why, and then all of a sudden you're in a training that doesn't feel authentic, and then you know what? It's easy to not show up on a bad day because you don't believe in it, right? So we need to get everybody here on this call, and even if you want to go to higher things, you need to have your why dead set. You need to be working this business in a place that's going to grow, and it's something that you steadfastly believe in. You believe in it, not your upline, not somebody who recommended it. A lot of people recommend the branding course, and a lot of people take off and crush it, y'all. And some people, they don't believe that branding is the key to their business. Their heart isn't into it like it was for maybe the coach that recommended the course into it. But some coaches, you know what? I'm just not talking through my brand. I believe that this is exactly what I need for my business today. And they just dig in. They do all the hard work. They do all the daily things that I ask them to do, and they take off. So find that daily discipline. Find that, that thing that you believe in, and work for that. And okay, so once we have that, that's your homework. That will get you out of any slump. If you line those three things up, that will bring you out of any slump. And it might not be immediate, but it'll get that Flintstone car rolling, where it is just a matter of time. If you stay the course, like that Flintstone car is going to take off, right? So things to help you do. I think this whole call was loaded with them. One, have like a rainy day cash a post So to make it easier to show up on the hard days, it's like, oh, I don't have to create anything. I'll just go to my rainy day thing. Have the reward system. Have a success story cache, right? So like the days when it's hard, or when you got that no, that customer that you know you have the perfect thing to help, that they say you know, and it's bothering you a little bit, right? It's like questioning your belief, like, oh, why did that person say no? Because I'm perfect for them, right? Like it's so good, it's so good. Like just drink the shake every day. Just follow the meal plan every day. Like why are you falling off? And you're starting to spew rocks, right? Like Curtis says, you're starting to maybe question your belief. Have 3 people that you can call that are on standby. They're like your biggest fans, right? Like you can just shoot it, whether it's in business or not, that you can get good energy from. Go read some of your success stories. Go back to your customers that you have helped the most. And if you don't have anything like that, if you're brand new, and that should be something that you're working towards. Fight for a success story and start small and add that to your cache, right? So every day you're like, hey, my mission, the thing that I do is go to, find some success stories. Yeah, come to New Wave, Lisa. Yeah, find some success stories in New Wave. But I know for like a lot of you, it feels more authentic when it's like, hey, I'm going to share a success that I helped create. Right, so always go to create success stories. So that's what I have. I'm gonna turn it over to question. I'm gonna stop the recording here in a bit. We're gonna do some things in New Wave next month to spur action to get you out of slumps. I want everybody to say, hey, I had my Flintstone moment. Maybe we'll do that's our hashtag for this. Like, hey, this is my Flintstone moment. Like I got the car rolling and it's about to take off. If you're in the car. Or maybe paddle a little faster in that Flintstone car, go to even a bit like faster than you're already going. So let's use that hashtag. We're going to ring the bell when things start working, right? So, hey, I had my Flintstone motion. I feel like my 3 layers, my why, my belief, and my discipline are lined up. That's your Flintstone moment when you feel like you have those 3 things in alignment. And then when you know what you're chasing and you get it, I want you to ring the bell. We used to do that in New Wave. I'm going to bring that back. When you get there, you maybe call your shot and then ring the bell when you had. I want a whole bunch of bell rings. Like we have way over like 60 people on right now. You guys stayed all the way to the end, so proud of you. I want to have at least 60 bell rings by the next month, and then everybody who's watching the recording, maybe 100 bell rings. That'd be super great. So let's get amazing success stories that came out of this call. I hope to fire you all up. I appreciate that. And then we're going to use this as a thing. So if you have a coach that's going through a slump, you got to watch Power Talk 10. You got to tell me what your 3 things are, and then you need to come back to me. We'll help set your Flintstone moment. And this call will be a resource. And all you can do when they come back from this call, you can talk about solutions instead of wallowing in your slump, because we've got enough of that, right? Let's celebrate more success instead of complaining about what's not working, right? Let's go. This is the time to really dig in. This is time to rise out of the slump, because January is coming, y'all. That's harvest time. I'm a farmer. Harvest time's fun, right? Like January in Beachbody World, that's all. It's easy to have success. Let's do the work now. So we're going to really have a tremendous yield coming November, December, January, and all that stuff. So I'm going to stop the recording. Thank you guys so much for coming to Power Talk 10. Stick on the call if you guys want to answer questions, and we'll have the rest of the mastermind unmute yourself so we can all kind of field some questions. So thank you guys, and download the freemiums below if you're watching the recording, and we'll catch you the last Tuesday of every month. We'll see you guys next time.